Rubbed my eyes a little bit too much. And now they're super red. I mean, it's early in the morning, but they're super red. Like real red.
Webb. Show.
It's amazing.
Webb. Show.
Webby pumpkin.
Webb. Show.
Oh my God.
Webb. Show.
Oh my God, Webby pumpkin.
Webb. Show.
Do you know him?
Webb. Show.
He's cool.
Webb. Show.
You should follow.
Webb. Show.
Good morning, friends, and welcome to a Solo Dolo episode of the Webb Show. So this season, I've already alluded to it in the last episode, things are going to look just a little bit different. And one of the ways that they're going to look different is that you're actually going to see a little bit more of me by myself. Topaz is going to be joining, but he's meeting with me at the beginning of every month to record 2 regular episodes and 2 bonus episodes. That means that 2 weeks a month, unfortunately, you only get to look at me. I'm sorry, it's just how it's going down, but I'm super glad to be here. I'm really ready to get started. Today, we are going to talk about a couple things, really only 2 things that I've been really interested in over the last week. And, of course, with the state of play being yesterday, been pretty interested about that. That's why we're in this live room setup here, so the way I could basically record early this morning. That's right, this is not a pre-recorded, I mean, it is pre-recorded, but it doesn't feel pre-recorded episode because you guys will start hearing this at 8 o'clock my time. It is currently 4:30 a.m. my time, so that I could make sure that I got all this as relevant and as up to date as possible for you guys. So really looking forward to that. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about that state of play and just kind of covering it. I'm going to give some thoughts on what I thought about it, what I'm excited about, what I thought maybe I'm not that excited about, things like that. And then I also want to dive in a little bit. I'm even thinking about doing a full video on this next topic. I want to dive in a little bit about the Palworld Pokemon controversy. I've got an IGN article pulled up that we'll look at together for our video listeners. For our audio listeners, I'm going to be pretty descriptive, or as descriptive as I can, so that you guys can see that. Anyway, I'm hearing so much discourse in and around Palworld and Pokemon that it's worth talking about. I've got a take on it that's different than some takes that I've heard, and it's similar to some other takes that I've heard. So I want to share that with you guys. But that's what we have in the lineup for today. Again, thank you guys so much for listening. If you enjoy the Webb Show, the number one thing that you can do to support the podcast is just listen. Like, listen to us, rate us, like us, rate us 5 stars on all the audio platforms that you listen to. We're currently on Spotify and pretty much everywhere else that good podcasts are included. Spotify being the main one, though. And then on video, we are also on video on Spotify, but we're video on YouTube, and it helps us out so much there if you just watch and listen. If you like the video, if you comment on the video, all these things help a ton more than people realize. The algorithm is like, oh my gosh, we like you. So just doing that alone is completely free and is the most helpful thing you can do. But if you feel like you'd like to go a little bit beyond that, on YouTube we have memberships. You can become a member for as low as like $3 a month is the barrier to entry, and there's a couple more tiers above that. At the bare minimum, it gets you a bunch of emotes that you can use anywhere on YouTube. That's very Webby Pumpkin branded. That middle tier also gets you a bonus episode every single week that comes out at the same time as the one that you're listening to or watching right now. It's just a unscripted, off-the-cuff conversation between Topaz and I, or for these Solo Dolo episodes, just kind of a heart-to-heart where I delve into maybe something going on in my life or something going on in the gaming world. It's a lot less scripted is the main thing, the main takeaway that I can give for that. And I actually felt like it was the better of the 2 episodes from last week. I'm not the only one that thought that either. We got one comment on it, and it shared the same sentiment, that it was just so genuine and good. We talked a little bit about Topaz maybe starting to stream. That'd be crazy. And it was a fun conversation. I'm glad that we had it. It was really real. The only thing is I forgot to turn our microphones on, so audio quality for that one's a little rough. I'm going to go ahead and apologize right now. And then, of course, you can always, follow over on twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. There's tons of ways to gift bits and donations to subscriptions there. I do have a donation link if you guys feel the need to try to help out financially. You never have to, but man, it is always so appreciated. Thank you so much. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers or followers on any platform. We are halfway there on Twitch and on YouTube. Would love to do that. Your boy needs a Fortnite creator code. It's been too long. I want to be able to host customs because we do a Follower Friday every single month over on Twitch, and where we just all play together and have a great time. And that would be exponentially simpler for me and probably more fun for all of you if I could host custom matches so that we can get, up to 100 people in a match. That way everybody can play. No one's waiting in lines. We can all have a good time at once. So that's really the goal. I'm not after the money. I'm not after like a supporter creator code. I'm really after being able to just make better content with you guys. So it would really mean a lot if you consider liking, following, subscribing. Let's get on with the show. Okay, so first and foremost, because it's the most recent and relevant news, let's talk about this state of play. Personally, off the cuff, well, I was really excited about the state of play. I planned it into my schedule when I saw that Sony had posted that they were going to have a state of play. I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many things. We even played bingo on stream, and pretty much nothing that we put on the bingo sheet was actually talked about. There was like 4 things, and we were being kind of gracious to count some of it. I knew there were going to be some things on the bingo sheet. Like I put Spyro 4 on there. That's an Activision title. Toys for Bob, or Activision, or Microsoft, I guess, just laid off like a third of Toys for Bob's workforce. So I don't really know if we're going to see anything Toys for Bob related anytime soon. However, that all being said, I still put it on there because it feels like a PlayStation game to me, because the originals were, and it's ingrained in me. When I think of Spyro, when I think of playing Spyro, I picture a PlayStation controller. So I'll put it on there as just a funny. But there were things on there like Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy 7, that I just knew were going to be talked about. Tekken 8, we just knew it was going to be talked about. Things I didn't think about that I should have thought about were Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which is the primary thing that was discussed. We're going to go over this IGN article of everything that was listed. I'm going to give my hot takes, and we'll go over that really quickly for those of you who missed it. Death Stranding 2 on the beach was by far the bulk, like almost 10 minutes of this 40-minute showcase. It was the bulk of the whole thing. Kojima was there, talked about how he's working on an upcoming project as well that they haven't given a whole lot of information about, but supposedly it's like a game but also a movie, which feels very Kojima, because I think Kojima has really wanted to make a movie the whole time that he's been doing this anyway. But we got Death Stranding 2. I personally have not played Death Stranding 1, and I know you can beat me up in the chat. I get it. But seeing this trailer made me think 2 things. One, man, it looks like it's going to be a really good story. I should probably play Death Stranding 1. And 2, this might be the strangest thing I have ever witnessed in my life. Here, let me, I'll do this, but I'll just, can I mute it? Of course, we got an ad. We'll come back to that. I'll show you a little bit of that trailer, but you saw the baby that was there for our video listeners. That baby opened its mouth in like an artery and let out a ship, and I just don't understand. I don't understand what is Kojima. I just don't understand. But it looked really, really good. It was by far cinematically the best looking picture that I believe that I saw the entire time out of everything we're going to talk about today. This was the most cinematic. This was the most pretty. Really, really liked it. But very long. That it is very clear to me that this state of play was intended to be a Kojima / Death Stranding exhibition. So, but it looks great. Up next, we have Rise of the Ronin. It wasn't on our sheet. Looks great. I don't know a whole lot about it, but it's going to be out on March 22nd. Team Ninja has made a game that actually kind of makes me interested in playing it. I will say I tried Sekiro Die Twice, and I'm not good at strategic combat. I'm much better about parrying and doing some strategic combat in things like Spider-Man or other like beat 'em up type situations. But these like hack and slashy strategic sword fighting games, no. It's not that I don't like them. It's just that I'm bad at it. I'm bad. I'm really, really bad at it. I'm a masher. I'm a masher at heart, but it looks really great. Very Sekiro Die Twice-ish. Very Well, I hate to compare it to Assassin's Creed, but the traversal techniques of how you get around the world, and you can just go up on basically every rooftop. You have like a grapple hook where you can kind of web swing to different areas. You can also use that in battle. Very Assassin's Creed-esque to me. This one looks like a winner on March 22nd. We had Until Dawn Remastered coming to the PS5 and the PC this year. A lot of Until Dawn fans are super excited about this. This is going to be later in 2024. Not a whole lot to say about this, but I believe we also got a little teaser for Until Dawn 2. And so I think that's where more people are excited. I could be wrong about that, though. Anyway, it looks like it's going to be a fun little endeavor for you horror fans later in the year. We had Stellar Blade. This actually looked really, really good. Very near Automata styling of gameplay and storyline. I'm not 100% sure if Stellar is a android / robot or a human or what she is. But anyway, it looked pretty great. The only thing that I will say that I really, really noticed about this one is that, let me go ahead and get to that ad for it. Only thing I really noticed about this one that I think is worth talking about is that the facial animations were just not there for me. It felt not like old necessarily or like super outdated or anything like that. It just, like, the cutscenes look good, but in between, I'm trying to find a spot for you guys to see whenever they're speaking. I just felt like the faces were disconnected. That could be chalked up a little bit maybe to this game being intended to be in Japanese, and we're seeing an English variant of it, and maybe that's it. But I remember watching it live and thinking, there we go, here's a little bit. Oh, I passed it. Thinking that the facial expressions were just not 100% there for me. The mouth is moving, but the eyes feel distant. It's almost on the mark. It's almost on the mark, but it just doesn't quite feel right. And I can't really put my finger on why, but it doesn't. So anyway, all you like JRPG / hack and slash lovers, though, are gonna really appreciate it. If you like Nier Automata, you're probably really gonna like this game. It's coming out April 26th. So you don't really have very long to wait for it. We have another Dragon's Dogma 2 trailer. That's coming out on March 22nd. I actually thought it was something Elden Ring inspired whenever I first saw it. Then I thought, oh my gosh, are we getting Elden Ring? So if you like fantasy action RPGs, and if you've played Dragon's Dogma before, you're probably going to really like this one. It looks great. Not really my kind of game, generally speaking. I just don't like grinding. I work a lot, and I don't want to do too much work in my games. I want to kind of chill and hang out, and my favorite part about this is hanging out with you guys. So, doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's not for Webby. But it looks really, really great. Graphically, it looks great. It looks like the fighting mechanic, the spell mechanic, all looks good. I'm not sure exactly how traversal is going to feel. It could be a little monotonous getting around, but overall, I think it's going to be a win on 22nd. Here's one that I didn't think I was going to see today, and that is Sonic X Shadow Generations. Sonic Shadow Generations. It literally came on, and the reason this was so interesting to me is because I just played Sonic Generations a couple months ago at the end of 2023 for the first time. Turns out it's baller. It's a great game. I actually think it's a better game than Sonic Superstars, and by far a better game than Sonic Frontiers. So whenever I saw it, I was like, what is Sonic Generations doing here? It's like a 10-year-old game. What is this? And then to see Shadow come by, even though he's not a playable character, but he exists already in Sonic Generations, and to have an opportunity to play a Shadow and get to know him a little bit better, because I don't know a whole lot about Shadow. I haven't played Sonic Adventure 2 or anything like that. I have it. I'm working on playing it. I just need to find some time in the backlog, so before you guys at me on that one. This looks great. I'm really looking forward to picking it up. It's supposed to be out. The trailer says autumn 2024. Whatever the heck that means, just sometime this year. I don't like when they give a season, like when game developers give a season for something to be out. Like, unless it's holiday 2024. Like, I wouldn't want someone to be like winter 2024, summer 2024. I mean, I guess it kind of narrows it down. But autumn feels like that weird one, probably because I live in Mississippi and the weather is always the same. I only feel like summer is a specific time because there's no school. But other than that, like it's always just hot. I mean, we're cold for like 3 weeks, but when is autumn? I don't even know when this is. But I'm looking forward to it. What is this? So the original apparently came out in 2011. So yeah, we're looking at 13 years later. And I think if you haven't played Sonic Generations, the 2011 game, even now in 2024, I think that game really holds up. I have a friend that's in the community and chat that just got it and has been loving the game. Cannot recommend it enough. Definitely check it out. We had Silent Hill. The short message is dropping later today is what the tagline here says. It looked good. It's a Silent Hill spinoff. It's not... I don't think it's what everybody's wanting. I think they're really wanting Silent Hill 2 remake, which was kind of shown as well, but no release date or window or anything for either of those games. Looked really good. Sony is really leaning into that, drama / horror kind of thing in the state of play. If you can count, Death Stranding in that, I think you can. Judas gets a brand new trailer. I didn't know anything about this game. Also looks very horror-ish. I hate saying that word. I don't ever feel like I say it right. It looks great as well. I think did we get a date for that? Let's see. Looks like we did not. We did not get a date for it, but we know it's going to be on PS5, and we know that the facial animations are a little weird here. They're very crisp, but just a little uncanny. Looks really good. Another horror game. It's from the creator of BioShock, and apparently, I've never played BioShock, but apparently it really resembles what BioShock is and how it plays and everything like that. Very colorful, yet still dystopian. First-person combat. I need to play BioShock. Is that worth playing? Let me know in the comments if that's worth playing. B Rising is coming to PS5 in 2024. I called this really early on, and I don't think that this is my kind of game. However, I have an uncle and a cousin, but primarily an uncle, that tear this game up. Been playing it on Steam. Probably the only game that they've been playing in their Steam library for the last 3 months. Loving it. This is definitely their type of game. Having it on PlayStation maybe makes me a little more interested. I'll be honest, if I do play it, I'll probably play it on Steam because I don't know if there's going to be crossplay. But it's an isometric action game with some Diablo-ish type vibe. There's a full trailer that you can watch, but it's coming to PS5 sometime in 2024. It originally launched in early access on PC in 2022. I didn't know it was early access on PC, so that all makes sense. Dave the Diver, the controversial Is It an Indie game that was nominated for the Game Awards last year, is getting a new, I don't know if this is DLC or level or what you would call this. Basically, Godzilla. Godzilla is coming to Dave the Diver. Do I know how that's going to work? Not at all. Does it seem interesting? It's yes. Will it be good? I don't know. Does it seem interesting? It's got my attention. It does have my attention. Even if I don't play it, I gotta know how the heck a game about a diver who collects food to sell by day and night to sell into his sushi fish style restaurant. How he's going to manage coming across Godzilla, I don't know, but Anyway, we learned that the game is coming to PlayStation in April, and we also learned that Godzilla is coming to Dave the Diver in May. So apparently the game Dave the Diver wasn't on PlayStation at all. So you're getting that game, and you're getting Godzilla. Is Godzilla the twist that's like, all right, PlayStation is a primarily Japanese market. We're going to put Godzilla in here, and it's going to be great. Then we got Zenless Zone Zero, an official trailer for that. It looked very Hoyoverse to me. I don't think it technically is Hoyoverse, though. It's not nearly as mystical in the eyes. But I've went on record as saying that since I'm not like a JRPG slash like anime action shooter type gamer, I feel like they run together a little bit to me. We got Metro Awakening in VR, which I will say looked pretty good. It looked pretty darn good, and might be the best looking thing on VR that I saw. 2033 is when all this will be taking place, not when we're getting the game, but like the events of the game happen in 2023. It should be out later this year for PSVR 2. We also got Legendary Tales for PSVR 2. This game looks super fun. My only gripe is that it looks like it was developed for maybe late era PS2, early era PS3. It looks super dated. I'm sure it does look fun, and honestly, it looking so dated and being so empty and like graphically simple, I guess is the best way for me to put that. It looking so graphically simple probably is going to lend itself well to a better VR experience as far as like smooth gameplay and reliability. However, and I said this on the stream, whenever PSVR 2 requires a PS5, which is $500, and the PSVR headset that plugs into it is an additional $500. So we're looking at $1,000 barrier to entry. Games they've got to be putting it all out on the line for me. If it's going to cost me $1,000 plus the cost of the game to play VR, you've got to explain to me why I need to get this on PSVR 2, or like why I would want to do this, unless I just already have a PSVR 2. For less than half of that, an Oculus Quest 3 could probably run this game, unless it's a PlayStation exclusive. I'm not sure that it is. I need to look into it. I mean, most people have a computer, even if it's not, on the Oculus Store. I bet it might be on Steam. Great looking game. It's really hard. I want to know what you think as well on that, but it's really hard to play a game that looks like it came out, in 2013 for $1,000. It's a lot. It's a whole lot. And I can't believe I forgot about this one because I'm really excited about this. Foam Stars launches finally. I played a little bit of the demo way back when it came out. It's coming out on February 6th, if I remember correctly. They don't have it placed here, but I think I remember that off the top of my head. I might actually play this because on February 6th, we're going to be celebrating 5 years of content creation on Twitch. So we'll be getting started at about 7 p.m. Eastern time, and we're going until 1 a.m. the next day, which is the actual 5-year anniversary. This is coming out on that date, so I could definitely see myself checking that out that night. And if any of you guys have it and want to play it as well, we'll play together. We'll have a good time. It's probably not the only thing we're going to play. Actually, I can guarantee it's not the only thing that we're going to play. I don't even want to say for sure that we're going to, but with it coming out on the day and me liking it the last time I played it, and I was okay at it. I wasn't good, but I was okay. I might check this out. This is basically, in my opinion, excuse me. This game is basically, in my opinion, Sony / Square Enix's answer to Splatoon. It's instead of shooting slime, you're shooting foam, and you can't swim through the slime like you can if you're an Inkling. You get like a surfboard and you can surf on top of it instead. Very Splatoon-ish, very like Splatoon / meets Overwatch, maybe, because each character has their own abilities, and the animation reminds me a good bit of Overwatch. So, yeah. Pretty good though. Pretty good game. I enjoyed the demo, and it looks like it's going to be a lot more fleshed out this time. Helldivers 2 trailer. I don't even remember this one if I'm being completely honest, but apparently we're getting it on February 8th. Let's go. And then, yep, that's it. That is it for the Sony State of Play. I do want to know your thoughts on it. Overall, like, what would you give it? I might even add this as a poll. Actually, I will add this as the poll on Spotify, and let me know what you guys think in the on YouTube as well. I'll throw it on there. What would you, if you were to give the Sony State of Play a letter grade, like A, B, C, D, what would you give it? I want to know. I know what I would give it, and I'll tell you guys. I almost was going to share my thoughts on, or like hold those thoughts and not share them yet, but I'll tell you what I think about it. If I were to give it a letter grade, this one is I'll go all the way down to F. F being like it's the worst thing ever. I'd give this one probably a C. Honestly, just because of Death Stranding. I know that that's very, very like exciting for some people. And I mean, it was kind of exciting for me. I just haven't played the first one, so I'm nowhere near being able to do that. But it really felt kind of mid for 40 minutes, and to be the first taste of this year, to know what's coming. I mean, I'll give it some props that a lot of the games that were announced we're getting within the next 2 months, at the longest 3 months. So that's appealing. I will say that is appealing. But it also just didn't do it for me. Maybe that's just me. Maybe it's not just me. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the polls. And we will go from there with that.
Elmo wants to know, how many fingers does it take to press the subscribe button? Do you know?
All right, up next. Well, I'm going to take a sip of water real quick, actually. Oh, that's interesting for you viewer listeners that can see me. This is a yellow beverage. Like it's like a peach orange juice type situation that I'm having this morning. But my green screen is taking some of the hues out of it, which is crazy. So it actually looks a little bit like urine on the green screen, which is really interesting. But it's like bright yellow, which is crazy in like IRL. That's wild. I could have said nothing, and maybe you guys would have thought I'm just drinking a lot of water. I mean, I am drinking water, but you get the idea. All right, next up, let's talk about Palworld and Pokemon. Nintendo has, in my opinion, a very long history of suing. Like, there's just no other way to put that. They have a long history of being a pretty litigious company. And everybody and their mama, especially on Twitter, seem to really want to get in this conversation around whether or not Pokemon is being infringed upon by Palworld. I just realized I didn't plug my computer in, and it's gonna die, and that's not good. Give me 1 second. Dad's better. All right. Whether or not this is Pokemon is being infringed upon, I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been playing Palworld since launch, and on launch sucked. It was really hard to get in. However, it was it's early access. I have some grace for it. I don't really normally like survival games. I liked Minecraft back in the day. I don't like Ark. I didn't like Craftopia that much. It's just not for me. It's just not. However, I don't know what it is. Maybe it is the pals, but this game has me hooked. I've been playing it for at least an hour or two, pretty much every night, streaming it to my Steam Deck. I kind of wish I'd gotten it on Steam and not Xbox, but streaming it from Xbox Live or cloud gaming to my Steam Deck, just like chilling on the couch or laying in bed, kind of last little bit, as like an unwinding type game before bed. Last night I went a little crazy, brought my computer into the living room and played on it, and I ended up playing for like 6 hours. Oopsie. That time be going fast whenever you're playing this game, and I'm loving it. And but I do understand that when you look at the pals, there are some of them that remind you of Pokemon, and that's that's almost as far as I'm willing to say. Like, there's some weird lines here where I think that they are skirting it a little too much. almost, but not past what I would think is the line of Pokemon parody. It's going to be interesting though, because the creators of Palworld, Pocket Pair, are a Japanese company, which, as we know, the Pokemon Company is also a Japanese company, which means this isn't even an international case if this does go to court. And we're going to go over some of the comparisons that IGN has posted that people are talking about, and I'll give you my thoughts on that. But if this does go to court, if Nintendo does decide to sue, it's going to be local. It's going to be in the Japanese courtroom. And my understanding, knowing very little about international law, or like I know a little bit about like the laws of the U.S., but I wouldn't call myself an expert on this, much less elsewhere. But my understanding is that Japanese copyright is real difficult. Like, they're really hard on copyright. They don't have any like fair use clause or anything like we do in the US. So this may be a stronger case only because of Japan's laws. It seems like something that they could probably get away with here in the US. They can still get away with it in Japan. I don't know. Nintendo did release a statement on it, I think, primarily because so many people were just like, oh my goodness, Nintendo, have you seen this? Cannot believe that you do not realize that there is another Pokemon game. This is what the statement said. I'll just pull it up on my phone and read it to you guys real quick. It says, we have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to the Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon in its world and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future. The Pokemon Company. And a little bit of that sounds weird because of the translation. But that was their statement. Let me tell you my hot take on that real quick. Basically, what they just said, in my opinion, is one, because this was right around the time someone had was working on releasing a Pokemon mod for Palworld where you played as Ash Ketchum and you caught actual Pokemon. And that got shut down like that day. Done. Close case, done. Hook, line, sinker. I think they were a little bit referring to that, and that got knocked out eventually. And I do think that they obviously, like, Nintendo is aware of Palworld. Palworld got a trailer forever ago when people were calling it Pokemon with Guns. And I'm hearing some people talk about how, oh my gosh, they're literally marketing the game as Pokemon with Guns. I could be wrong, but everywhere I've seen, Pocket Pair has never said that about their game that I have seen. Now, I didn't take a deep dive, so that's why I say I could be wrong. But every time I've seen the term Pokemon with Guns used, it has been in relation to a regular individual or a researcher or a journalist comparing it to Pokemon, not them using Pokemon for their marketing. So I think that's important. They're not claiming it. We're all saying that it's Pokemon with Guns. That makes a difference, especially in court. I feel like that really makes a difference. The other thing that I got here is that I don't think that Nintendo, at least right now, thinks that it has enough. I think they're investigating, they're keeping an eye on it, and they're trying to find all that they can to build a case, all while staving their time, sitting back, because this game, in the first 6 days, sold 8 million copies. It's only on Steam and Game Pass, and I don't know if those sales reflect how many people are playing on Game Pass. There's been people talking about how, they said Tim was a Pokemon killer, and this game was a Pokemon killer, and Monster Hunter was a Pokemon killer, and Pokemon Resolves. No, none of those games sold 8 million copies in the first week. That is only on one platform, really. Like, you're playing on PC and Xbox. There's Steam in the Microsoft Store, but you're playing on PC and Xbox. 8 million copies. I don't know what it's at right now. Hold on, I'm going to look it up right now so we can be as relevant as possible because that is... And I don't have anything updated as of today from what Google says, just in a quick search. That is... No, yes, I do. Yes, I do. As of 6 days ago, 12 million copies, 19 million players. That is Pokemon fighting words for a game to be that much of a success. So there are two things that are going to happen, and I think Nintendo's a little nervous, or should be a little nervous, about the precedent that could be set based on this case. They could win, and I think they would want to win. If they take this to court, they stand to make bank, get a big bag because of all the money that Palworld has had. They could possibly try to issue like a cease and desist and anything like that, but I think they will stave their time, let the game continue to be super successful, make a lot of money, and then capitalize on the success of Palworld and get that payout. Or they may, I think that's what they're waiting to do, but it's possible that they go to court and don't have as much of a leg to stand on as it seems like they should, and then the precedent is set that like this parody type thing is okay. So let's jump into it a little bit. I want to compare some of these Pokemon and Pals and just give my hot take, and then wish you guys very well. Starting up, we have Pikachu up against, I forget what this pal is called. He's a little electric rat mouse thing. It's something Kit, but I can't remember. Anyway, it doesn't matter all that much. We're gonna make him a big screen real quick so you guys can see it. Or actually, it's not too bad there. If you're watching, then you can see him. If you're not, then you can't. What's his name? Sparkit. Okay, so we got Sparkit compared to Pikachu. I think that the only thing that these guys are really have in common, to be completely honest, is that they're electric types. Sparkit looks way more like a baby Electabuzz to me than he does a Pikachu. I don't think that there's a big case here. Those two are they're a little fundamentally different. They're much more egregious ones. All right, here we got Fox Sparks being compared to Charmander and Vulpix. And I'll be honest, I thought of Vulpix when I first saw it, or even maybe more of like a Flareon. But the more I thought about it, the more I realized that the colors aren't the same. And guys, we need to understand that Pokemon draws inspiration from source material, from like things in nature, and this game can do the same thing as well. It's not, if Pokemon make dolphin real life animal, it's not bad for me to make dolphin animal in my game. You know what I mean? Dolphins are real. This is a fox. It looks different enough, I think, from both of these that it is just they gave it a fire type because that makes sense for fox. It's a red fox, fire type. If you come across a white fox, what do you think? Oh, ice. It's in nature. Nintendo doesn't own, this is what I'm trying to say here. Nintendo doesn't own the copyright on foxes. You know what I mean? They do for Vulpix, but they don't own the right to foxes everywhere. Same for this. Like, yes, I understand that Piplup and Pinglet look like the same thing because they're both penguins. Penguins are thought of as blue because they're cold. They're both ice. Well, I think Piplup is actually a water type. Pinglet is a water ice type. There again, I want to reiterate this. Nintendo doesn't own the copyright on penguins. The eyes are pretty similar, but penguins look like penguins. It doesn't matter. Any penguin chibi-ish character you make like this would look like a penguin chibi-ish character that Nintendo made. It's a penguin. This one, I see a stronger argument for. You got, you have, what is this? Munchlax and, what is this cow's name? It is Matsumera, I think is his name. I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head because it's not listed here on the side. That face do be looking similar. The teeth are on the other side. It's a happy boy. He's got some horns. This one, the face is the main thing, but that'll be an interesting conversation for copyright because it's just a big old boy with a derpy face and a big old boy with a derpy sleepy face. And I don't know how far you can copyright a mouth or a smile. It's just 3 lines, you know. It's the teeth for me that make it a little weird, but I don't know on this one. This one's in a little more of an ambiguous territory for me. But like I said, I don't know how much you can copyright a mouth. This one is is this a Lowland or Galarian? I can't remember which Meowth this is. But this is that other version of Meowth versus Grintail. Similar conversation here. They're both cats. The eyes and mouth look very, very similar. They look very similar. But I don't know what a court would rule on this, because like they even have, I think they have the same amount of teeth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they have the same amount of teeth and the same orientation. The thing is, cats have teeth and mouths, and I don't know. I just don't know how the court would see something like this, because I don't know how specifically you can copyright a mouth or a mouth shape. You could copyright a Meowth, but I don't know about a mouth. So that one a little ambiguous on as well. And we're going to get further. This one, I think that's just a derpy face. I don't think this is a super, super strong case. I do think there's like Swabble, I think, has the same headpiece as this guy. I do think there's something there. I know there's been some allegations about like use of AI to create these characters. I don't actually think that AI is happening. What I do think though is it does seem, even if it's for inspiration, that Pocket Pair may have uploaded the entire Pokédex of Pokemon and said, make me Pokemon out of this information. And it pulled information or inspiration from certain ones. I don't know. This one doesn't do it for me. I don't like the design of King Paka because it doesn't make sense for it to have like a trident. But, I mean, again, Pokemon I don't feel owns the copyright on tridents, nor do they own this idea that tridents are royalty. I think Poseidon did that, and he's probably a little older than Pokemon. So I just think it's a bad design, but I don't think there's a case for King Paka and Empoleon. This one a little bit trickier. I don't think it's the same idea, but I want to chalk it up into the same like thing. Like I don't think it's copyright, like it's plagiarism, I guess. I want to strike it up that it's at least the same idea. And I'm not super well versed in Pokemon, so I'm sorry. I'm not going to be able to like say all the names for each of these Pokemon, but this is Univolt. It is it's an electric zebra. We have another electric zebra in the Pokemon world. Yes. This one, man, I'm sorry, audio listeners. I am not versed enough in Pokemon, but this is Robin Quill and looks a lot like another bow and arrow wielding green and brown Pokemon bird. I think the idea is there. I don't think these look that similar though. I think just they have the same concept, but I mean, the fact that they use the same weapons isn't even a big thing for me, because this is obviously a Robin Hood play. What was Robin Hood? He was an archer. So that one doesn't get me too much. I see an argument here for, what is this, pal? This is Tokotoko and another totem-looking bird, because the color scheme is just identical between this Pokemon and this pal. I get it, but I still don't think that there's enough to form a case there. Again, here, you don't own the copyright on toucans. You know, Nintendo doesn't, so I don't know if there's a case here. This one's strong. Lucario is the Pokemon. Anubis, who I finally came into contact with yesterday in Palworld. He beat me, but I'll get him soon. They look really, really similar. I'm not a huge fan of the Anubis design, but I also don't think this is fully fair, because I do think that Palworld is ripping off a character or a design or a thought here, but I don't think it's Lucario. I think it's actually the Egyptian god, like the horse-headed Egyptian god. He's wearing Egyptian outfits. He is a little dog-ish in his feet, which is a little concerning, but he has like actual full hands. He's wearing just a a pharaoh's outfit, and he has a dog head because Anubis did like that. That's the he's the Egyptian god. He's made after the image of the Egyptian god here. Grisbear and Electabuzz. Yeah, I thought this looked just like an Electabuzz until I saw them side by side. The concept is there. The idea is still there. Same idea here. But I think this one's more funny. I think this is parody. This is where I don't know where the line will be in Japan, but I do think that this one's kind of parody. But also, Grisbolt here was one of the very first pals that we saw in the trailer years ago. If Nintendo was going to pounce on this, they've had ample time to pounce on Grisbolt. We have Mirabee, I think is her name. Elizabeth. I'm pretty sure is a play off of Queen Elizabeth. She's a queen bee. There's another bee queen Pokemon whose name I don't know. Same idea again here. I think this similar concept and idea, not necessarily it's not that crazy to make a bee look like a well embellished and decorated woman. That's not a new thing. That's not a new idea or new thought. So I don't know. This one's a gray area for me. I don't think this one holds up much. This is a big old gray rhino looking Pokemon whose name I don't know. Sorry guys. And up against a Stegon. Similar face. I think that's as far as it goes. I'm gonna go through these a little bit quicker because I don't want to waste you guys' time. I see it, but also I don't. This is Incineram up against. Gosh, I'm sorry, I don't know Pokemon. Maybe I just don't like Pokemon. Maybe I have a biasy. The more I look at this, maybe I'm thinking that. Is this Garchomp, I think, up against Orsurk? Very similar head shape. And stance. Coloration is all different. The general model form, even though the stance is the same, the general model form is also different. Like, hands are different. So I think this is close, but no cigar. Personally. Here we have Jetragon, which IGN is saying is a comparison between... I do know these guys. What are they? It's something DOS and DOS, I think. The two Jetbird Pokemon. Gosh, I should have actually done this with Topaz because he knows all the Pokemon. Oh, this one bothers me. Lamball up against the little lamb from Pokemon Sword and Shield, whose name Woolet or something, I think is its name. They are not that similar. I saw people in other podcasts raving about how this is a direct rip-off of Pokemon. No, it's not. It's a lamb. They exist in real life. Draw a lamb. Draw 8 different lambs. I bet they're all going to look like lambs. Pokemon doesn't own the copyright for lambs and sheep. They're sheep. You want to make a cute chibi character that's in the style of a sheep? Cute chibi character in the style of a sheep. They're sheep. It's real. It's a real animal. Fingalope and this other blue Pokemon. And, this one, I wish I knew its name. This one I think there's a strong case for. You got Broncherry. And the other, I wish I knew its name. I remember taking pictures of it in Pokemon Snap, but it's the very large green Pokemon that has the, the floral mane around its neck. Looks kind of like a Brontosaurus with a mane of flowers. This is very, very similar. This is a similar idea. Different design, similar idea. Had the same idea here. So I don't know. That feels a little more gray area to me as well. Then I'm gonna do like 2 more. We got Cremis and Gigantamax Eevee. That one's hard. That one, they look a lot alike. Mostly because that face. Again, Eevee's a fox. This is supposed to be a fox that's made of cream. Cremis, you get it? It's like whipped cream fox. I see it, but also it's hard because, do they own the copyright on foxes again? The only thing is, the first Firefox just looks like a fox to me. Like, it's just generic fox. The Cremis looks a lot like Eevee's face. The little tufts and everything are really, really similar, even in front of the ears. Like when you look at this, it makes you think of Eevee. Is that parody? Is that copyright infringement? I don't know, but it reminds you a lot of Eevee. And then you got Verdash up against Incinerate. And I'll be honest with you, if you showed me the silhouette of Verdash, I probably would think it's Incinerate. They do have a slightly different head structure, but they look very, very similar. And if nothing else, to give the most credit to Palworld, inspiration was taken from hands down. Inspiration was taken from Pokemon, like absolutely. So I don't know. There's my just hot takes there. I don't actually think there's a huge copyright infringement type thing going on here. I think based on my American knowledge, I think that it is primarily just a situation of parody. Like, obviously, Pokemon's successful. Obviously, it's the best the best is a strong word. It's the most played and most known creature catching game. And it would make sense as a love letter to Pokemon for Palworld to take some inspiration from their Pokemon. It obviously is not okay to copy them or to do this, to put those Pokemon in to do the same thing. And I understand that some of it runs the line pretty close. So I don't know. But I am on the side of history that says that it's really, really close. I think it's parody because fundamentally, like from a thousand miles above, they look very, very similar. But when you get down to the actual game itself, though, I don't think the games are all that similar. Pokemon is a turn-based combat, like grindy menu creature capture game, and Palworld is honestly, in my opinion, much, much more like Ark Survival Evolved. Like this interesting mishmash of Ark and Tears of the Kingdom and a little bit of Pokemon, I suppose, but because you catch creatures in spheres, which is pretty much a Pokeball. But it looks different. There are other people in the world. There are guns. You fight yourself. Very similar to if you had a dinosaur or a creature in Ark that you could train and ride and use to your benefit. It's not very different from that. You build bases. You put the pals to work on your base. I don't know. It doesn't feel at all like the same type of game. And I know I'm maybe a little biased because I do enjoy Palworld. I do think that it's a pretty good game, but I think I would stick up. I want to believe that I'm the type of person that would stick up for it, even if I didn't really like the game that much. If I found myself in the same situation where I was like, yes, I see similarities, yes, I see parody. I don't know if it's close enough for copyright infringement legally. I understand everyone's concern. I just don't know if it's at that legal mark yet. I would really like to hear what you guys have to say about Palworld, though. Continue the conversation, jump into the conversation if this is your first time hearing or thinking about it or throwing your 2 cents in. Let me know in the comments. At me on Twitter, at Webby Pumpkin. Let me know your thoughts there. I want to know. Even if you completely disagree with me and you think I have a really crappy take on this, that's fine. That's totally fine. I want the discussion. I think the discussion is useful. And because whatever happens in the case of this game, it will be precedent setting. It will be industry defining for what comes later. Personally, what I'd like to see happen is Pokemon take notes, and the next Pokemon game we get, probably on the next Nintendo hardware, just give us the best Pokemon game the world has ever seen. Because right now, Arceus was pretty good. It was pretty good. It had a lot of the things that I want in a Pokemon game, but it didn't have everything, and it didn't do quite enough to really redefine the genre to me. Scarlet and Violet were awful, buggy messes, just terrible. Sword and Shield was okay. I've gone on record saying this. I'll say it again. My hot take is that Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are the best 2 Pokemon games on the Switch. Just the best made. I know a lot of people didn't like the catching mechanic, but I feel like objectively they did the best job. And if nothing else, they're by far the best remake, in my opinion. And I've played all of them. I've played every Pokemon that has come on the Switch. Maybe not both versions, but each era of game. And that's my thoughts there. In an early access game of Palworld, have already found myself enjoying the game more, feeling like more innovation was made and more fun is being had. And I think a lot of people, 12 million people. Well, no, sorry, 18 million, 12 million copies. 18 million people seem to agree with me. So, Nintendo, just give us a good Pokemon game. The day that you drop a banger Pokemon game, people won't care much about Palworld. They'll want to play Pokemon. You just got to give us something that competes. And competition, I like it because competition drives the industry forward. It's better for consumers. So that's my thoughts there. Let me know what you think in the comment. Thank you all so much for watching. Like I said, just watching and listening are the two things that are absolutely free and help out the channel the most. But if you decide that you'd like to give a little bit more, you can come and hang out with us over on twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. I'll be there live tonight. I'm live every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, unless something comes up, except for Friday the 9th. I'm going to take that day off because I have a date anniversary and Valentine's Day and a wedding anniversary that are all like basically right at one after the other with my wife. We're going to celebrate 9 years together, which is crazy, and 7 years married, which is also crazy. Sorry, that was a big stretch. And so that's gonna be fun, and then another Valentine's Day. So we're gonna celebrate that. We're gonna take that weekend and have some fun and go eat and not do work and have a good time. So, but otherwise, every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 7 p.m. Eastern Time to around 11 p.m. Eastern Time. You can find me at twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. You can donate, gift, and just hang out and chat there. Ask me questions, get to know me. I'd love to get to know you as well. You can also become a member here on YouTube. That starts at $3 or like $2.99, I think. So like that starts at $3. You can go all the way up to like $20 if you feel generous. Thank you so much for that. If you do, it's absolutely never a requirement. However, it's always appreciated. And if you are a member, you actually get a bonus episode at the same time that this episode aired. You can go ahead and watch that right now. And not only do you get the bonus episode for this episode you're listening to, you also get every bonus episode from previous episodes. Right now, at the time that you're listening to this, that's 3 bonus episodes that are available that you can watch and binge right now. Would love you guys to check that out. Thank you so much for liking, commenting, subscribing. Those comments and likes help out so much more than you realize. Thank you for rating 5 stars over on your favorite podcasting audio platform. Love you guys. I'm so grateful for your listening and for your watching. I'm so grateful for this community that we're building. And I will see you Thursday. I'll see you next Thursday again with Topaz back. We're probably going to talk a little bit more about Palworld because I haven't gotten his hot take, as well as some other things and some conversations about making content for 5 years, which is kind of crazy. Thank you guys. Love you guys. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
I want to tell you a story about a time when you watched Webby, like on the Webb Show. Your favorite podcast near and far here on the Webb Show. You know you listen in your car. You love the Webb Show. You love the Webb Show with Webby.